Hi my loves, how's it going? How you guys doing? Welcome if you're new, welcome back. If you've seen me before, it is that time of the month where I share my monthly empties. I've got a playlist going for quite a while now. It's got over like a year's worth of empties videos if you guys like watching this type of content. I've done pretty well in terms of empties for the month. I've got a lot of exciting updates, especially with some makeup empties, and I cannot wait to share them with you guys. I've been really looking forward to this video. If you guys want to check me out on other socials, all my usernames are all just dailywithdils, the same as my YouTube channel. Unfortunately, my links are not working at the moment because they want me to, I don't know what they're doing. They just said that I no longer have like a channel history. I need to build towards it. I've been on and I've been posting for well over like a year now, probably like 2 years. So yeah, I'd really appreciate if you could check out my other socials. I do post a lot more over on TikTok anyway, but let's just get right into the video. So like I was saying, I do have this entire basket full of empties. I have got quite a few like large products as well that I've used up this month, and quite a few like single use items too. So I'll talk about what I can. One of the things I kind of enjoyed was using this Abib collagen gel mask. This was not too bad, but I did find it kept slipping down my face, and that really annoys me whenever a mask does that. So I really had to like just lay on my bed like that, as if I was dead, to stop it literally sliding down my face. But I didn't actually mind this one. Would I purchase it again? I'm not in like a desperate rush to go out and buy it, but I do like the concept of having a sheet mask every now and again. I don't do it on a daily basis, and I definitely don't do it like once a week. I only ever really do it when I feel like I need to sort of like make myself force, um, not really make myself, but literally force myself to slow down because my mind is like racing, and I need to calm down because I'm gonna spiral or I'm gonna have an episode. So to stop that from happening, I kind of like have to try out different things, and that's when I usually grab a sheet mask. But this wasn't that bad, and I don't think that was that expensive either. I bought this from Yes Styles. I have a code; it gets you 10% off. It's Adila10. I'll have it on the screen. If you guys are interested, I'd really appreciate if you did use my code. I do make a small commission off it, and I don't think it's not at any cost to yourselves, but it is a very very small amount that I do make back, and I'd really appreciate if you guys could also use it. But I didn't like this, and I potentially buy this again. Another single-use item was this Mixing Bean Sun Serum, and I really like this. This is just what it sort of looks like. This was a free gift from Yes House when I did my order, and I had this one in December as well. And even then, I really like this. This is something that I think I'll add on to my wishes of products that I want to buy when I next do a purchase. That won't be until either the end of 2026 if I fly through stuff. If not, definitely sometime in January or like the first half of like next year, which is fine. But this was actually quite nice, and I really like this. So this one is something that I would definitely consider picking up. Another like one to like, actually this took me quite a few times to use, but this was the little sachet of Laura Mercier's hand cream. This is the ombre vanilla one. It's a souffle hand cream, and to be fair, this wasn't that bad either. I got this as like a free sample. I don't know if this was from Space NK or where it was from, but I actually like this one too. It did make my hands feel really soft and hydrated, and I would just keep this on my bedside table because like if I keep this anywhere else, I'm not going to use it. So I kept this next to my bed, and like a couple nights, my hands were very dry. I'd use this like nail polish remover, and it completely ruined my fingertips. They were so dry and peeling, even though it did not actually have any like that product that's usually added in, and I don't know what it's called, but there's that. It was without that. If I remember it, I'll add it somewhere on the screen. But I hope you guys know what I'm trying to say. It didn't have that really strong chemical in this. I was really surprised that it ruined my hands, and I used it on two different occasions. And I was like, yeah, no, this has got to go. This is just not it. But yeah, that completely destroyed my hands. And I'm not gonna lie, I used this one to well, sorry, I used this one to help me revive my hands again. And this was actually quite nice. Wouldn't necessarily go out and buy a full size of this, no, because I have tried cheaper hand creams that work amazing. Stuff from the Body Shop works really well, and even just like the Nivea, like the dark blue packaging hand cream, that's like top tier for me, especially like in the winter times. That is something that I would normally gravitate towards. So I wouldn't necessarily go out and buy it. Obviously, if I was to receive it, would I use it? Absolutely, but it's not within my budget, so I wouldn't go and get it. I have three hair empties. The first one I used up was this Nizoral anti-dandruff treatment, which has 2% ketoconazole in here. Now, I've been using this on and off for a long time. Basically, I had a really, really big issue the last 2 years with like really like a lot of dryness and a lot of like dandruff, like a layer building up in my scalp. It has since gotten better, and I think it was just through one, me trying to manage some of my stress, because I'm a chronic stressor and I'm constantly struggling with that. And the other thing I did was I always now make sure that I dry my scalp. I always have to do it. And I really feel like that's also really helped me kind of manage some of that. Obviously, sometimes I do still get it, sometimes I don't, but I have really like tried to do what I can. And I always make sure that my scalp at least is dry after I've showered. And I'll leave the bottom of my hair to dry. Naturally, I don't really care about that, but the scalp has to be dry. And that's worked really well for me. Would I necessarily go back out and buy this one again? I don't really feel like I need to because I already have a duplicate, but also I've heard that Boots does its own make of this and it's a fraction of the price. So if I do, I'll probably pick the dupe of this up. But if you are looking for something to try that you haven't already and you're struggling with your scalp, this might be something to look into. This isn't going to work for everyone's hair because it depends on the actual issue and it can be very tricky and it will take time to figure out what works and what doesn't work. But this was really good, really good. I did go to my doctor one time and she did say to me, just keep using this. Like I know it says like you're supposed to, the first week you're supposed to use it like, or the first time you use it, you're supposed to use it like 2 to 3 times a week, then you slow it down to like once a week. But she says keep using it, and if it works, and it should be fine. So that's what mine said. You can obviously speak to your derm first or your doctor first before you try that out. But this is actually really useful to have on hand, and I'm really glad that this worked as well as it did for me. Another product I used up was this Way fine to medium hair treatment mask, and I love this. This smells so yum. I'm not really a big fan of purchasing stuff that's like hella expensive, just because I fly for things, and again, it's about having a budget, and I don't really have the budget for that. But this smells so good, and I really do think if I'm gonna buy something that's like on the more pricey side, this would have to be it. I mean, some of the scent is still there, and I really like this. This also really made my hair feel so soft, nourished, hydrated, and everything. And I really, really like that. And it made my hair feel less frizzy after I'd get out of the shower and after like I dried my hair. So if there's anything that I definitely would repurchase, it is got to be this one. Yeah, I got this little like sample tiny thing from ASOS. They did like a ASOS and Way sort of like collab situation where they had like 5 items but in like a mini version, and this is just one of the ones that came through there. But yeah, I'm kind of sad that this is on because I don't have anything else that I can use in the shower, to sort of like as like a mask situation. But this, yeah, this is high key on my radar. The last and most recent item I finished was this scalp scrub, and this is from Umberto Giannini. I'm sorry if I'm saying this wrong. But you know what? This scalp scrub was so good. I don't use this all the time. Every now and again, I will give my scalp a good cleanse. And it just makes your scalp feel soft, like not soft, but like cleaner, fresher. And I just feel like my hair just reacts a lot better as well. This was very nice. And this you can typically get on sale on in either Boots or Superdrug. I'll just wherever I'm shopping for that particular time, I'll then go ahead and pick this up or whatever's like convenient for me. This was really, really good. I no longer have a scalp scrub, but I am gonna wait to until I need to do at least a few like other products. Like, let me rephrase because that was not making sense. So I need to rebadge this because I do not have another scalp scrub. However, I'm going to try and wait until I've used up a few other products I need to repurchase. I'm very, very, very close to being done with a brow pencil, and I know that I'm going to have to do purchase. So if I am going to have to do that, I might as well go and pick up my replacements all at once. So then I know that it's just for like, say, for instance, it's just for like February, I need to do that. And I can go through like March without having to buy any replacements, and it will just make budgeting things a little bit easier too. This is very, very nice, and I love this. It just works really, really well. I always make sure that I use some kind of like a scalp scrub situation, especially if I've put product in my scalp. Like I tend to use the Fable and Mane like Amla soothing scalp serum thing, and if I do that or if I do hair oiling, anything like that at all, I always have to go in with a scalp scrub because I feel like you need to really get the product out of your hair, and this does make your hair feel really like cleansed as well. So I would highly recommend having a scalp scrub. Also, it's just good for your scalp, like every now and again. Um, Even if it's just once, like every few weeks that you use something like this, I think it's really good for your scalp to have something like that. And this is so affordable that I would recommend everybody to at least try it if you haven't already. I have quite a few skincare empties. I did go through quite a lot, but I had been trying to use a lot of these for months. This one I've had in here for almost a year, I feel like. And I was using this on and off. This is the number 7 men's energizing eye roll on. My brother actually gave this to me. He was using it, and then I think his under eyes were starting to get irritated, so he just gave me a whole bunch of these. And over the last couple of years, I've just been using these on and off. And I can't lie, this is actually quite nice. I really like this because it also has like a metal ball inside it, and it just felt kind of cooling, and I really like that about this. This is like kind of, you can't, I don't know if you can see that, but that's just what it looks like. Would I buy this again? No. I think I have enough eye serums to last me for at least a year and then some, but I really like the Korean sort of skincare, so I try to mainly and specifically gravitate towards that. The only other product I'd probably repurchase is a retinol eye cream from, oh my god, Glow Recipe, because that one was really nice and I feel like that really made a difference to my under eyes. So I wouldn't really repurchase this. It wasn't a bad product. I did actually enjoy using it while I did have it, but it's not something that I would pick up again. Another very recent empty was this Mixsoon Bean Essence. So this is a very interesting sort of serum. I just use it because I felt like it was kind of hydrating and soothing for the skin, especially nighttime, because that's when I would like to layer on creams and moisturizers and allow my skin to like feel very moisturized. During the day, I try to like limit the heaviness of my products, just because I have very oily skin, and it can be really frustrating to have to deal with that, especially if I've done makeup and then I go out, because sometimes some products will just like, it will just mean that if I'm doing certain types of skincare, my foundation won't hold on for as long as I really need it to hold on to. So I've always used this at nighttime as a nighttime serum, and I've loved it for that reason. Would I buy this again? Probably I would, because I did actually really enjoy using this. And what I did was I actually had to research this a little bit, and I could still be wrong, but anytime I use retinol, I'd always use that first and then put this on top of it, and then added in like a light sort of moisturizer, because people were saying that this would be really good to use after you put on a retinol to your face. And I'm not gonna lie, I didn't notice any irritations when I did it with retinol, and I really like that. So this would be oh my god, this is something that I would definitely repurchase again. It's going to be from Yes Styles, because that's where I'm finding the cheapest sort of like Korean skincare. If it's not Yes Styles, I know Selvina and I think it's Olive Young. They sort of like all kind of sell the same sort of products, but I wouldn't necessarily go out my way to buy Korean skincare from a retailer here, just because they sell the price. No, what? They sell the item at a much higher price. Whereas if I just buy it from the styles, I even have like a discount code to then use, and other people's codes I can use and then get something that's like a lot cheaper. So like, kind of have to use my brain and really just try and get the most discount that I can. Again, my code is Adidas10 if you do ever make a guest house order. Just keep in mind, I'd really appreciate if you do. But this is definitely something I'd try. And also, I want to try more from the brand, because I've heard really, really good things from various people that I like discuss things like skincare and just talk to in general. So that'd be kind of nice to see what else they have. A product I also really loved was this Lumen Nordic Glow Boost Essence. This is a vitamin C basically, and it's very nice. It does make my skin feel glowy, and I really like it for that. And it just sits so beautifully on the skin. My only issue is it's quite an expensive product. Every now and again, you can find it on a pretty good sale. I've seen it maybe once or twice on a Boots £10 Tuesday. So if I ever do want to repurchase it, I'd have to be very strategic when I do that. This is actually a very nice product. Like I said, I did feel like anytime I used this, my skin did feel very like, it looked glowy and just looked radiant, looked beautiful. And this vitamin C serum works really well on my skin. I know some people have said that certain vitamin C serums, especially if they've got oily skin, does irritate the skin, but so far I found this one does work really well for me. Would I repurchase the vitamin C? Yes, I would. Would it be this one? I'm not really sure yet what I'm gonna do, because I have a few others in my like stash that I'm currently using, but this was a really good one, and it sits so well underneath any of my other skincare that I use. So I've never had an issue with this, and it's never like made anything like pill or anything like that. So for that reason, this is definitely something to consider. A product I'm so glad I'm done with is this Soap and Glory vitamin C facial wash. I don't actually have an issue with this. Like, it's not a bad product. I actually do like it. It works really well. My only issue is, if I don't store this upside down, I'm not going to be able to use most of this product, and my hands cramp up very easy. So then I have a really hard time with like trying to, and it feels quite difficult to get product out of this. That's the only reason I don't necessarily like products like this. Also, when it sits in the bathroom, it's starting to get like a bit moldy and just like kind of gross. I'd always have to go back and clean this as much as I can, because it's sat like this, and where it's sat, the shower water kind of hits it, which is kind of annoying, but there's nothing we can really do with that. And I just don't like that the packaging is very hard to use, and I always have to start as soon as I get to like about here with the product, I have to start upside down, because if I don't, I'm gonna have a really hard time trying to get this out the bottle without my hands cramping, and I should probably like really work on that. but it is just frustrating to use. Other than that, this is a really nice product. I do feel like it does work really well for me, and I do feel like my skin's like cleaned, but it's not stripping, which is also very nice. Would I necessarily purchase? Probably, if I'm ever like needing something that's just like cheap and cheerful. And also, I think Boots sell this again like as a 2 pack for like every now and again you will get it on £10 Tuesday. So if I'm ever in a situation where like I need something immediately and I've run out of what I kind of have, I probably would pick this up because it isn't bad, and you get 350 ml product, which is still quite a lot compared to some of the other like cleansers you can get for the price point that this is. But yeah, it's not a bad product. I just don't like the packaging of this. It does make it a little bit more trickier for me to use. Otherwise, I would have said that this is probably one of my favorites. But the actual product works really well. The packaging just not so much. Another product that was not my favorite was this deep moisturizing foot cream from Boots. This was another £10 Tuesday purchase, and I can't remember if this is from 2024 or 2025, but I definitely do fall victim to that £10 Tuesday every now and again. So I'm really glad I'm on a no buy and I'm not really like tempted at the moment. However, with this product on its own, I really don't think it did anything, and I feel like in fact my feet were still very, very dry. Even though it says this is a deep moisturizing foot cream, I don't really think it did what it did. This is the most I could get out, and this is the most I care to get out. I don't really care to get any more out. I used up 3 of these last year, and then this was the last one remaining. And I think this is I think this is part of my 50 Shades of Black project plan, which I'm not going to do an update until the finale now. But I did have posted like videos of that previously if you guys want to watch it. So based off of that alone, I don't really think I would go back out and repurchase this one. But the way I've made this work is I will show you if I can grab it, is by using this toner. This is the glycerin and rose water toning and moisturizing thing. So what I would do is put this on first and then put this on. So basically what I've learned, and this is only going to work if your feet are already kind of like wet, but the best way is to use this, and it makes your feet look very like soft and moisturized. But you have to use a combo. You can't use it on its own. Even though it was 4 for 10, I don't really think it was worth it, and I'm not really going to buy this one again. I don't have any more foot creams specific to use, but what I'm going to do is I've got some really old hand creams and some that I don't necessarily like because they're a little bit too thick for my hands. I'm going to use those instead as foot creams because it would work, right? It would work and it would do the job. So that's what I'm going to do. But yeah, I'm just never going to buy this one again. The last like skincare product, and one of my favorites actually, was this Anua Rice 17 Ceramide Glowy Milk Toner. I know glowy like milk toners in general are very popular at the moment, and I can understand why. I really love this toner. I felt like it was really hydrating, and it was not just hydrating, like it was hydrating to an extent, but it was very soothing, and my skin loved this. Like it would just eat it up. And I got a lot of use out of this. At one point, I genuinely was worried that I'm never going to use this up, like it's going to be here forever. But I ended up using so much of this product, and I just like, sort of flew through it. This is definitely something that I can see myself repurchasing time and time again. There's been a couple of toners that I found that I really, really love, and this is honestly one of them. There's 2 toners, as far as I know, from Anwar. There's this one and then the Heartleaf one, which is like just a clear one. That one did absolutely nothing. That just felt like it was like plain water. But this one, this was so nice. This actually made a difference to my skin. Every now and again, I do seem to irritate my skin, and that could be based on various things. But this always came in clutch, and I'd highly recommend, like, if you are going to pick up a toner from Anwar, to pick up this one. I forgot I had one more skincare product, and this is the Nivea Soft Refreshing what? Yeah, the Nivea soft cream. So I got this little like travel size thing just because I feel like sometimes I need something that's a little bit more thicker to use, and I really like this. My skin loves this, and I would probably buy the massive tub of this if I can. I'm not gonna do that right now because I have so many moisturizers. It's a little bit ridiculous. Like put me in jail for that. But this is a really, really, really lovely cream, and I've always loved the Nivea products, especially this one. This one works really well. But they've got the other dark blue one, that one too at nighttime. Top tier. Honestly, it's actually top tier. But this is one of my favorites. I do have to pick this up every now and again because I feel like my skin just needs this level of hydration sometimes. And this is just perfect. I love this. I use that one lip balm. This is a little gift thing that I got. I don't know if this was a gift or came part of like one of the curated box I bought at some point last year. This is from Pat McGrath, and I'm not gonna. I did not like this. It did nothing for my lips. In fact, this made my lips feel really, really dry. And then in the end, I ended up accidentally breaking it off because it just wasn't stable enough. But this is the color of it. It did look really, really beautiful. However, it stank, and I hadn't even had it for that long. And honestly, it was just drying for me. As much as I love the packaging of the, like, these are iconic, like what that looks like. I wouldn't buy this one again. I know she's got some of the lip balms. I don't know if they're really selling them again, but like for £30, I probably wouldn't, because I have found other products that work really, really well. But this was just not something that I'd ever repurchase from her, and I'm glad I was able to use it up. I have three little fragrance empties. So I I'm project planning perfumes because I have so many. I count my samples as one item, and I obviously count my full size one as one item because it's a lot of perfume to get through, and I have some very, very old stock that I want to use up first. But to make it easier, what I do is I throw in between 2 to 3 sample sizes into my perfume project pan, and that just like keeps me going, and it just helps me like move through my inventory a little bit faster, and it means that I can get through these, and I can as I see the progress. It just means I can see that I'm more than capable of doing it, and that it makes me stick to doing it again and again rather than starting to feel really overwhelmed. Because if I have too many like full size perfumes, one, that's going to take me months and months and months to get through, but two, that can be like frustrating when like your inventory numbers are not moving. At least that's what I found. So to make it all work, I have to throw in some samples. So I had 2 from Glossier, but of the 2, I'm only going to repurchase the Fleur scent. That was so beautiful. Like, I would drench myself in that if I could. The other one I used up was the U Rev. This one's okay, but that's not really something I liked. And then the third one I used up, and this is the one I literally finished like a day or two ago, is I'm filming on the 1st of February, but it uses up like 2 days ago. This is the Sunna Musk Heaven on Earth, and this one surprised me actually. This one was really nice as well, and I can see myself repurchasing this scent again. So these are the 3 that I used up. This time around, I'm not going to be collecting any perfume empties because I feel like that's just a bit long and I don't have the space. And I have a feeling that this year I'm going to fly through a lot more perfumes, and I don't want to keep holding on to stuff, especially trash. Like, I'll do that for makeup, but that's as far as I will go. But these 3 are done, and of these 3, I'm gonna repurchase 2 of them. Not now because I don't need them right now, but when I do look into buying more perfumes, these are the ones that will sort of be on my radar. The rest of these are now all makeup empties. I did go through a lot of makeup empties, and the reason I did that is because so many of these products I've been constantly using for months. And I'm talking, some of these are in here for almost a year. Some of these are in here for like 10 months. Some of these have been in here for like 8 months. I'm trying to say 2 words at the same time. I've been constantly using these up. Some of these were a little bit easier to use for various reasons. So I'll kind of talk about that. But I want to share these 2. So these are just like little tiny like sample sizes, like a little sachet. These are both the Huda Beauty Easy Blur Primer. These are just one use for me, I'll be honest. I've got a big face, it ended up going really fast. I really like these. These don't count towards my inventory. These are just something I have. Because these are one size, they don't count towards my inventory at all. I do have a full size of the Huda Beauty primer. I'm using up a couple primers at the moment, so it will take me a little bit of time to get to that. But I really like this, and I'm so excited to use the actual full size primer. And I know that will take me close to the end of the year, which I'm more than happy with. But these were actually very, very nice. A product that was not in here for long was this Urban Decay Perversion mascara. I have seemed to have leaked my lip oil in here because I took the stopper out. That was a really dumb thing to do. So this was like a gift with purchase that I got a couple months ago. This is just what the one looks like. But I feel like the actual mascara in here was so dry that this lasted me maybe just a little bit over like a couple of weeks. And I'm gonna call it done because one, it's a mini. Minis don't really last me long anyway. And I don't seem to go more than like 2 months with a mini product. But I don't care to repurchase this. I've got certain mascaras that I've used time and time again that work really well for me. This just wasn't one of them. It did nothing for my lashes. I already struggle with my left eye because I've plucked. I, it's a really annoying thing because I feel like sometimes I have got something in my eye. So what I'll do is I'll like pull the lashes a little bit, and then I've unfortunately lost a lot of lashes in that way, which does mean that they now grow differently to what they did previously, and it takes a lot more for mascara to work on this eye, whereas this eye I can get away with a little bit more, like a little bit easier. So this did nothing for either one of my lashes, and that's when I knew that this was just not it for me. So I called it done. I don't really care. I'm fine with this being finished. I've got quite a few other mascaras I want to get to next, but yeah, I wouldn't buy that one again. The next product is a slip pencil. I've been wanting to use this up since I think December because I had a tiny bit left and I really tried to get it to use in December. And then in the last sort of like week, I got sick, so then I couldn't do makeup days. Whereas I feel like if I had done like that last week, if I had done makeup every single day, I would have finished this back then, but this is literally the nub that it is now. I used up everything that I could and I sharpened it right till the end. And yeah, this is a really lovely shade. This is the shade BFF. I love this so much. I thought it was so beautiful, and I love how these are a little bit more creamier. You can definitely get through these a lot faster, but I also like the Colourpop formula too. I would like to repurchase this one, but I have so many lip pencils right now that I can't even think about repurchasing anything for at least the next 5 years. And that's me overestimating how soon I'll be able to use the products. I probably don't need anything more for like the next 10 years. But yeah, I have a lot of other lip pencils. I'm sure I can find something very similar to this. But this was actually very, very nice, and I really enjoyed using this one up. This product I did try to get a lot of use out of sort of in the autumn time of last year. And then I decided to, I think, roll this into a project for this year. My issue with this one is I've had it for so long, it actually did start to dry out on me. And I got maybe like 3 uses in the month of January. And I don't know if you can tell from the wand, it is actually very, very dry. But I'm going to call this an empty because I have actually gotten so much use out of this in the last sort of like 3 months of 2025. And I got 3 uses now. And I did get some more uses at the start of 2025 as well. So I feel like that's more than enough for me. One thing I've realized is I go through seasons with my makeup. Like sometimes I love using a liquid lipstick because it of the longevity of it, and I don't need to constantly top up. And other times I just love using a lipstick and a gloss, or a lip pencil and a gloss, just because of how easy it is, but also how it doesn't feel like there's much in lips, and they typically feel heavy for me. Whereas a liquid lipstick, because it's a bit more on the drier side, you can sort of like feel it a little bit more. So it's like the texture thing of it. For me, I've noticed I used to at one point heavily gravitate towards liquid lipsticks, and I haven't done that in many, many years. So for me, I need to remember that I do not need to ever buy any more liquid lipsticks. I have so many. I think my inventory for makeup will come out in February at some point, probably towards the end of the month, if that is something you guys are interested in. But one thing I've realized is I do like to keep a hold of a couple of liquid lipsticks, but I don't need as many as I do. And the clay formula, this is kind of like, or like the cloudy formula, it does dry out kind of quickly depending on how you store it. But this I had since I want to say either 22 or 23. So I've had this for a very long time as well. I'm just glad that I was able to finish this up and I can call this one done, because I was really worried about this one. And I really did like this because it was a beautiful, like deep, dark brown shade. And I don't have many colors like this, but it was fun. I'm gonna just try and avoid picking up any more like liquid lipsticks, at least this formula, for quite some time, because I don't need it. This pencil from Colourpop I have been using for the last 3 years, I want to say, if that, possibly a little bit more. I love a really fun like pop of color, and I always as much as I can, I always gravitate towards like a colorful waterline, and I devoured this. I use this so much in the month of January that this kind of just finished, and I didn't have that much of it. Unfortunately, I did lose some product. I lost like a tiny, tiny bit, and that's because this had broken a while ago, and I was trying to be very careful when using it, and I used to always avoid trying to roll it all the way up. And that's one of the reasons I didn't ever throw this into like a project pan, because it would have been really difficult to like mark it and like show you guys how much I had. I love this formula, and I really feel like this formula has been long lasting. Unfortunately, I do have sensitive and also kind of watery eyes, so like for me certain products, they don't really last long on my waterline, but this one really did. And this is a very easy to like touch up with this if I ever needed. I really like this color, so this is the shade Zulu, and I really want to repurchase it. I'm so shocked that the entire 2025 I did not do a single Colourpop order. Normally I tend to do 1 to 2 like purchases from Colourpop, and I'm so shocked that I didn't. But this year, depending on if I run out of, because there's a few actually like colorful liners that I'm close to being done with. You kind of see them gradually. I might have to do repurchase towards the end of the year if I feel like I don't have any duplicates of these colors, and I don't think I have anything like this in my collection. Otherwise, I would have literally pulled it out so fast. But this is so nice. If you're looking for something similar, like a formula that's very similar and like very colorful and vibrant, I know Barry does some. I know they recently went through like a rebrand. So I don't know if they still have it, but they did have some really fun colors like these, and they were very vibrant. And then that's what I loved about this. It's just vibrant. You can see it, and it's just a fun pop of color. It's just beautiful. It's a vibe. But yeah, if there's something that I'm going to repurchase, it's definitely this one. A product I won't be repurchasing is the Laura Mercier powder. My cousin initially bought this for herself, and she'd made a lot of progress on this. She'd given me I think it was about this much product. So she had already used quite a chunk of this, and then she gave it to me because she said that it makes her look kind of great, and I can see that. Unfortunately, I don't know if they've changed the powder or what it is, but this makes my under eyes look extremely dry and cakey and creasy, and it was not a nice look. No matter how little I used, and I typically try to use very little powder on my under eyes, just because of how I have like lines on my under eyes, and it can be kind of um annoying, I'll be honest. But yeah, I did not like this. Also, they've changed the packaging, so you can't take the sifter out. I sat down for like an hour trying to pop this open, and I kept scratching my hands, and I can't lie, it was really bad because I hurt myself so many times, and it was really painful, and I don't like that. I liked to be able to take the sifter out because I want to get every last drop of the product, and sometimes this like a good size, it would have been perfect to like reuse for other things, and I don't like when brands do that. That was a really stupid thing for them to have to do. So this is definitely something that I'm not going to repurchase. I have so many of the powders to get through, so yeah, I'm in no like thing. I think there's like a tiny amount in here. You can kind of sort of like see it there. I can't get it out, and I don't care to get it out. But this is something that I don't think I'm ever going to buy again because the formula just wasn't it at all. Like I've used this in the past, but it seemed so different to when I've previously used it up. So yeah, it's just a no for me. I finally used up this e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. I think I got this back in 2023. So I was very like conscious about this being expired. And I think it was because every time I use it towards the end, I kept breaking out. So my skin does definitely let me know if there's a product that isn't not working. Um, it might take me a while to figure it out, but my skin definitely lets me know. This is not a bad product. I do like a gripping sort of primer. I don't know like the science behind it, but I do feel like it holds onto my foundation a little bit nicer compared to some of the other primers I've used in the past. Would I repurchase this one again? No, I'm trying to avoid things from e.l.f. to be honest. I know that there's so many other brands that do like power, like a grippy sort of primer, that are also affordable. I know Beauty Crop does one. I know Beauty Bay does one too. So I'll probably repurchase this. At the moment, I don't need to buy anything new because I have a couple of minis, and then I have like the full size of the Huda Beauty. So I'm good for like a very, very long time. I'm trying not to have too many backups now as well if I can help it, because it's just a bit silly. But this is not a bad product. I don't want to buy from e.l.f. The other e.l.f. product I used that was this lip oil. This is the shade jamming session or jam session. I'm not gonna lie, the color was absolutely beautiful. The formula was not too bad. I took the stopper out because I couldn't get much of the lip oil out, and I really like this one. This sat on my desk for the first 3 weeks of January, or 3.5 weeks of January. The last week of January I've been using a different lip oil, and that'll be an empty next month, well in February, and I'll tell you guys all about that one closer to time. But this is not a bad product. I think I use it up because I used it up in 3 weeks. I calculated, and I could potentially use up anywhere between 12 to 15 if I constantly keep one on my work desk, or at least like some kind of a lip product. So my goal is, and I've already picked up what ones I kind of want to keep there. The goal is to constantly have one on my desk because I don't really do makeup before work. I'll always do it like after work. And if I do it after work, I'm going to use like a lipstick or other like colorful products. But while I'm working, I'll try to keep like a lip or like some kind of like a hydrating product. And this year, the big emphasis is going to be on using up as many lip glosses as I can. Lip oils kind of fall into lip gloss category for me because they kind of do the same thing for me, really. So I have so many. Do I spoil how many I have? I'll leave you guys to it. Because I have such a large quantity of lip products, especially when it comes to glosses. I think the best way for me to actually make an active dent in that collection is going to be by keeping one constantly on my desk. And if I can even use up 12, if that just means I can use up one every single month, that'll be massive. That'll actually be massive for me for the end of the year. And in terms of like getting the inventory, and I know I can use it more than that, but like even if I can just use up 12, that'll be insane. So that's the goal. This is now leaking, so I'm gonna have to like try and wrap this up and then put this in my like storage thing so I can share all the empties at the end of the year. But yeah, I liked this. I'm just never gonna buy this one again. The next two products are both part of my project, my like rolling style project plan that I have. But I really want to show progress in here. If you don't want to see spoilers, I would just like skip because I don't think there's anything else in the end of the video. But if you don't care for spoilers, that's fine. So one of the things I really want to talk about is this face palette. So this duo has a blush and a highlighter, and I've managed to use up the blush, and it went by a lot faster than I expected it to go by. However, the highlighter, I have so much left of that, and I think it will definitely take me a good 2 to 3 months to use up whatever's left. This I can't use on my cheeks because this looks okay, but anytime I use this, it gives me like a really bad shadow, and it's a little bit too deep for me to use on my skin. So what I'm considering is using this on my inner corner, because I think that is how this will work the best. I probably wouldn't use this as an eyeshadow because the formula of this isn't that great, and it just looks really like out of place when I do that. But when I use this on my inner corner, it looks okay. I do think, however, I am going to have to repress this, and I think I might do that after my next update. And I think my update for the project planner will be next week anyway. But after that point, I'm going to try to repress this to see if I can get through this a little bit faster. But I really don't have that much left, and I'm hoping that by April I'll be able to finish this off so that I can move on to the next palette to use. These are not bad duos, but I just feel like I'm not really that person that gravitates towards face palettes that often. Like, I would rather use like a single item, like a singular blush and a single highlighter, because I feel like I know this is just in my head, but I feel like if I have a product like this, I have to use the blush and the highlighter together. That's just how it makes sense in my head. Obviously, where I finish the blush, it's a bit different now because this I'm just going to use this as like a highlighter product. But I just feel like whenever I have products like this, like I have to use the whole thing. I can't just use this blush and like use a different highlighter. It just, yeah, it's definitely in my brain. There's not many brain cells up here, but that's just how it works. But yeah, I'm just happy to see this level of progress on here. I started to actively use this in July, even though I kind of rolled this in as a product in June. So considering however many months that is, what, 6 months I want to say, I've made pretty good progress on this, and I'm really happy to see this going the way that it is. The last product is again from that same project, and it's this goddamn bronzer. This shade was so beautiful. It's probably the best bronzer shade that I have used, and this is from the brand Nabla, and it's the shade Ambra. And it just, oh, it was such a beautiful shade. However, the product itself just irritated me so much, and I want to cuss, but I'm trying to be good. Okay, I'm trying to be good. um this is a baked product. You can kind of see with the way that the packaging is at the bottom. My issue with this was, and I don't know if other baked products do this, but this would get hard pan so easily, and it would be kind of difficult to use. And I hate having to do with products that just are difficult to use and or get hard pan really easily. And I've had the same issue with this other product that I'm using, which you'll see next month. But this became an actual mission, and I got as much use as I could out of this. I can't get any more color payoff on my brush from what's left over, so I'm calling it done. The panel inside me is kind of hurting because I know that if there is more product to use, however, it's just so stuck that even if I try to like scrape it off, it's actually not working. So I've come to the point I'm just going to call it done. I have two other bronzers, and I stupidly frankened another bronzer, and the shade is so off. But I have three bronzers, well, two that are actually working for me, and they will last me for so long. I don't need to try and like finish whatever else is left on in here. But yeah, I'm happy to call this done. Honestly, if the formula was slightly differently, like, and it didn't get hard pan as easy, I actually would repurchase because the color was so beautiful that I felt like it suited me so well, whether it was in the winter, summer, whatever season it was. It just sat so nice on the skin, and it also just, yeah, it just looked so beautiful. But because the formula, I just can't do that. I actually can't do it. It is a shame that that's how it is, but I'm so happy to see that this is gone. This I think I've been using since March or April, so it's taken me a good solid, what, 10, at minimum 10 months to use, and it's been constantly using this product. Because if I'm using a bronzer, I only ever use that one particular bronzer. I won't like rotate or grab other bronzers at the same time. Same things usually with powder and other like base products. But when it comes to things like blushes and highlighters, that's when I'll like rotate and like use different things. Also, I don't ever really have many bronzers anyway, so it doesn't really make a difference for me. But yeah, I'm happy to call this done. This probably is the one product out of everything here, along with probably this that I've been using for the longest time. I think I've been trying to use this up. This It was a goal for me to use up last year, and I didn't. And I have had solid progress on it since 2023, but it was time for it to go in January. But this, oh my god, 10 months of usage, and then it's finally done. So I'm really happy with that. So for the month of January, I did have a lot of like amazing products that were empties, and especially when it comes to the makeup inventory, that was amazing. I don't think I'm gonna have the same level of success for some time now, because a lot of the products I've rolled in exchange for some of these are kind of like brand new. So it will take me some more months of constant uses to maybe get to the same point. However, I have been having a lot more makeup days, especially in the month of January. And I think that also really contributed because I think for over half the month, I did makeup, which is probably the most I've done in a very, very long time. I don't even think I've done that much makeup days in the last 3 months of 2025, which is crazy to me. And I think that really, really helped me get through as much makeup as I did. And I'm not going to complain because one of my goals for this year is to do makeup as often as I can. And I've done that and I've made good progress and I can see that visible progress amongst other like items that I have too, which is really nice. I'm hoping I can at least have like 2 to 3 empties every single month in terms of makeup because there's various products that will use up at various times, and I think I can potentially stick to that time frame. Um, but yeah, that was everything for January. It was a lot. At least to me, it feels like it was a lot. Hopefully, February has some level of success to it too. We will definitely see. But that was everything for today. I hope you guys enjoyed me rambling about my empties for the month. And yeah, that's everything today. I'll see you next week with another update.